Let's wait for a second, I think. The helicopter sounds great.
You should land soon.
In the international accountability should be no loopholes to the responsibility of Russian or high authorities on their aggression war crime they are committing against the Ukrainian people, against Ukrainian statehood. And therefore, there is an imminent need to establish an international tribunal on this international crime, because ICC competence and other international criminal law institutions' competence currently does not cover this responsibility. And this is an issue we are going today raise, that this a pledge to establish this tribunal should become an European Union policy.
Well, just to add, as Urmas said, I think that you don't have too many doorsteps that are conducted in a group. But indeed, the Baltic states believe that the crime of aggression is not covered, that we have spent a couple of months arguing which way is better, but the best way at this point would be a special tribunal established by those countries that are willing to do that, of course including Ukraine, and that especially taking into account all those atrocities committed by the Russian armed forces in Ukraine, shelling of civilian objects, critical infrastructure, there is need not only for more sanctions, not only for more weapons, which is very obvious to Ukraine, but also to establish and to show that there is accountability, that no crime goes unpunished.
I will just add that there's full support to the ongoing investigations in the ICC and within other institutions. But it's obvious that we would not need to have all those investigations if not for crime of aggression itself. So we cannot investigate what we can and leave what our arms cannot reach at this point. We cannot find that there is a soldier, a general to blame for the atrocities in Ukraine, but leave the fact that somebody gave an order in Moscow, in Kremlin, to start the war on aggression. And if we don't create a precedent here, that means that all the other future aggressors will have their hands free to start new aggressions in the future. And since we're living through the two countries that are currently participating in the aggression, this is why I think that the reason is why we step forward, three Baltic states, and ask our European friends and allies to come with us and start this tribunal.
But the ICC has already deployed missions to find evidence and to secure evidence. We make this unworthy by opening a tribunal. Why is that?
But ICC is not responsible for the crime of aggression, which goes far beyond the war crimes. And I don't see any contradiction to the point where evidence gathered by ICC, joint investigative group that we have formed, that this evidence cannot be also used as part of the proceedings of special tribunal. But what we are talking here is the crime of aggression, the mother of all the war crimes.
Can you elaborate a little bit? How do you see this tribunal? Where will it be? Who's working there? So that we get a better idea, also distinguish between ICC and...
Well, I think that one of the reasons why it took a while to agree on this, because there was no agreement on which group of countries could form the tribunal, because there is no working institution that could cover the crime of aggression as of yet. It has to be created ad hoc just for this crime of aggression and create a precedent, as I mentioned before. So we believe that it could start in European Union. Within the European Union, we have the capacity, ability to start the process, and then we can also attract other countries to join in this tribunal, so that it would have a worldwide legitimacy. Is it weakening the
Well, absolutely not. It is strengthening all the deliverable of international criminal responsibility. ICC is covering by its statute all the war crimes which are currently taking place or which have been committed in the soil. It's a particular list of war crimes on the international responsibility. But the problem is that ICC statute is limited and excludes the crime of aggression, and it means these people, these criminals who gave an order to start this aggression war, either uniformed or not, starting from the top leader of Russian Federation as President Putin, are basically excluded from the ICC competence from the basis that the ICC deals with the sole war crimes committed on the ground. And so this, we do not see anyhow it is weakening or in harming ICC competence, vice versa. They are, this proposal leaves no loopholes to international responsibility. And secondly, message is very clear, we should put it to the center point of policy of European Union. Already from the spring there have been academicians speaking, lawyers speaking, ministers of justice speaking. Now we would like to give a strong message and signal it's going to be a time to raise it in the center of European Union policy, and the right place to do it is in the foreign ministers meeting, what we are going to do.
So procedurally, sir, what's the first step and
Where are you going from here?
what's the first step, how to start the process?
The first step is need to have a consensual political will of the European Union countries.
You just mentioned there that Russia doesn't accept the jurisdiction of the ICC. Why would Russia ever accept the jurisdiction of this special tribunal? And therefore, isn't this just a complete distraction that you're proposing?
Well, Russia will change one day. This Russia will
Not
not.
soon enough for this tribunal to...
Well, but there has to be a precedence. We cannot wait for Russia to change, you know, if it happens in decades, and then have justice served. We have to have the investigation started now, and one day Russian people and whichever Russian government will then be in place will have to accept this. This has happened in the past as well.
You're calling for regime change then?
Well, obviously nobody's calling for regime change outside of Russia. But honestly, if to say that Lithuania is not expecting that the regime will change would be naive.
Hermann Göring, I remember from his speech in Nuremberg, also didn't accept Nuremberg, legitimacy of Nuremberg tribunal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,